Hey everybody, Larry and Al, and our special guest Brenda. We've been talking about relationships. This is episode number 56 of our Larry and Al Search for Truth podcast. Like I said earlier, we've been on a little hiatus, but we're back at it. And we're sitting in Al's lovely home. And we've been talking again about relationships. And Brenda was sharing before she came in here, or when she first came in, about her experiences down in Florida. So tell us a little bit about that, and also about the relationships you have with your fellow athletes and people that you compete against and compete with, and so on and so forth. So.
I did just come back from Gainesville, Florida, to USA Track and Field Masters Division Championships. I competed there. It was hotter than you know what at Gainesville, Florida. I need to tell you about that. They had fans and plenty of water all over the place to keep us from passing out.
Yeah.
So I went there with my track team. I run for the Southern California Striders track team, and so we went there as a group, along with, I believe, I'm not going to get the number right, but it was about 200 or 300 other athletes there. We compete in 5-year increments. I'm 76, so I'm quote unquote the baby of my group. My age group is from 76 to 79. Yay! So I was the baby of the group. So you never miss out a national competition when you're the baby of the group. You're the youngest, and so on and so forth. It was 3 days of competition. Like I said, it was extremely hot, 100 and some odd degree weather. They had fans with water coming out of it. I mean, they did everything they could to keep us, and there's plenty of water for us to drink. You know, you couldn't sit up in the stands because it was just simply too hot to sit up in the stands, even underneath a tent. You know, some people brought in a block of ice and put the fan on it just because you have no place else to go, other than underneath another tent that's just as hot as your tent. So I competed in the 100 meters, and I did win. It wasn't my best time, but nonetheless, I get to wear the title of national champion. I competed in the 80-meter hurdles, and I won that as well. And I competed in the long jump, and I tied for first place, which I hate tying. And neither one of us jumped well. I know who she is. She's on my team, as a matter of fact. So we came in 1-2, but she had less attempts, so she got to get the gold medal, and I got to get the silver medal. But that's okay. And then I did the 200 meters hurdles, and I won. I finished across the finish line probably 20 to 30 meters in front of the next competition.
Wow.
However, they said that I was hooking, in which I don't know what that terminology is.
You go to the side of the hurdle.
Either way, I've been doing hurdles the same way for a long time. I've never even heard of that. But nonetheless, I got DQ'd, but my time was a record-breaking time, but it didn't count because I was DQ'd. So I soak over that more so than the winning. And then I was in a 4x1 relay team for the Southern California Striders. I forget what number we were, but anyway, we broke our own world record, in the 4x100. So I came away with, I think, 5 gold medals and 1 bronze medal, 1 silver medal. So it was, of course, I fuss over the silver medal more so than the gold medal. I got interviewed coming in off of the 200-meter hurdle. I tried to tell the guy, the guy that's doing the interview, that I'm still trying to catch my breath here. He didn't care. He forged straight ahead. I have the article. I have to look it up. It's called Visa Job. So he did interview me, and I had the opportunity to talk about my childhood and how I became, how I started running track. Back in my day, when I was in high school, Title IX was not in effect, and so we did not have equal representation for the girls and the boys in individual sports, or in sports. Track and field.
I think you used to have GAA.
Yeah, we had GAA, and track and field was one of it. So I didn't get to run. So when I turned 50 and heard about the Senior Olympics, is when I started running track, and my sister called it, I did country running. I had no form. Country running is like this. Form was like this. I had no form, so they had to fix me up. Everybody said, let's fix her up. I didn't know how to run out of blocks. I believe Alton bought me a pair of spikes, my first spikes ever, that were too little for me, but I wanted to be like the other girls, so I put those tight spikes,
Yeah.
ran them. Anyway, that's when it all started, and then as things progressed, then there's a senior Olympic division, and there's the Masters division, which is part of USA Track and Field. So they told me Masters is where the big dogs stop. So I wanted to go over there and meet the big dogs, head on. So that's what I did, and I did run the Senior Olympics. They're not quite as competitive as Masters division because, Masters division, you do rounds. You get to the final, Usually in Senior Olympics, anybody can run any, whatever, you just come out and run, something like that. So, yeah, that's my track and field. I love it. I train about 3 days a week, and about 2 days a week I do alternative stuff like ride my bike or just walk around or whatever. I probably eat properly because after a while, it's not like a special diet; it's just the way you eat. So not a lot of junk foods coming in, and we carb up. Right before the race, carb up means you take Gatorade or a Coke or something like that to get a little bit of extra sugar and insulin. So I've been doing it since I turned 50, so over 20 some odd years, and I still love it. I still love the activity. I still love the camaraderie. I still love that I have been without a coach for probably 2 to 3 years. I do have a personal trainer that works with me to seasonal to keep me up and running. So I put a lot of work into it, and then I run for my family and those who work with me.
So tell about how many all the places you've been around the world.
I've
done the track.
Yeah. Oh God, the first Puerto Rico was the first one I think I went to, which is international competition. I've been to Sweden, which was that's the most recent trip. I went to Sweden. Kimberly, my youngest daughter, she accompanied me to Sweden. It's a 2 weeks of competition. And it's tough, baby. It's tough because it's international. So my Sweden friends come in, my Canadian friends come in. So it's, we run for the United States of America. So, and they usually keep us under control. Meaning that you can go here, but don't go there. It's controlled environment. They've checked out the restaurants, they've checked out the hotels, they've done a whole lot of stuff to just lay the groundwork so when we come in as USA Track and Field, the airports know about us, the hotels know about us.
You've been to France, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've been around. I can't remember every place I've been, but I've been to France. I've been to Italy. Oh, there's another country, and I've been to Canada. Yeah, I've been around. I can't name them all off, but I fly a lot. Sometimes we require visas, sometimes we don't. So I always keep my visa and my passport up to date. So when I want to go someplace, we'll go. So it's been a good alternative. Like I said, by heart, I'm a softball player, but I like to win.
Yeah.
And when you play softball, you play all weekend long, and the whole 9 yards, and you get to the final game, and you get a team trophy. If you don't get there, I said, I don't want a team trophy. I want a medal. So that's why.
Highly competitive.
We gathered that the last time you were here too, so we're not surprised.
Yeah.
It's just what Kimberly, our youngest daughter, went to Grambling State University on a track and field scholarship, a full ride, and she ran for 4 years there. To this day, her best friends are from Grambling.
Yeah,
great.
And so on and so forth. So, my other daughters, they're very athletic as well, but they're not tuned into competition like that.
Yeah.
They were the rec kind of players, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they were good, but it was just in going through that time when the competitiveness, when people started talking about going to college, doing prepping their kids like that, like it is right now with the travel ball and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and
that's expensive.
And one thing that I'd have to bring out, and I don't know if it's appropriate for you guys to do it, but when Kimberly was a senior in high school, and Alton testified to this, we were trying to, where we're going to go to college at type situation. And we tried to make appointments with the school counselor. We kept, and they kept not being available, not this, and they just flat out. I finally ended up just going berserk on them because they said, well, she has to get in line and she has to, register. I said, we've gotten in line and we have registered. I said, and then I just called it out like I saw it. I said, you guys are just being prejudicial, and I just went berserk up in there. You just don't want to handle the black kids, whatever. And it's like, whoops. I must have said the magic words because
that got
got me up in the door.
It was only
back in the days,
like 10 kids, 10 kids.
Yeah, but in the school, the school itself, Gary Meek is a good friend of the family. He helped out my daughter quite a bit, but beyond that, they were not getting any help or support from the school. So I was saying the story to somebody, I don't know, and they mentioned this group called the God, it's going to go past my name. The women's group.
Oh yeah.
It was a black organization group. Oh my God, we're not going to be able to call it right now. But anyway, they mentioned this group, and so we went ahead and I enrolled Kimberly into this group. I can't remember their names.
Yeah, they had it in Oakland.
It was black oriented group,
fraternal organization.
And so I took her down there, and they taught them, etiquettes, how to walk right, how to talk right, how to do this, how to this, and then, but the major thing, they taught them how to fill out a college application to go to college. Right. And then they introduced the historical black schools, which I never heard of in those days, which was Grambling University, Southern University, quite a few of them. Now, so Kimberly applied for Grambling University on an athletic scholarship, and she ended up getting a full ride to Grambling. So that's how we even knew about that. It was eye-opening to me because I didn't know historical black schools. And one time they came to the Rose Parade.
They went to Grambling.
Yeah, they came to the Rose Parade, and we going to the parade.
Talking about Grambling.
Yeah, Grambling came to the Rose Parade. And she had graduated, and she had all her Grambling gear on. And we were out there on the Rose Parade.
And Grambling played Cal.
Yeah, and they came down the line, and
golf.
She just went berserk. I'm from Grambling, and she had a uniform on. They had no choice but to acknowledge her. Yeah. Well, that was fun. But like I said, she got a fantastic education. She got a fantastic education. She went on to get her master's degree, so she just got all she needed. And I just said, wow, me personally never even knew there was historical black school existed. I probably did, but I did not.
It was for her. It was a good choice. Each one of the daughters had Raquel went to Santa Barbara. She right out of high school. Cherry Lynn went to Orange Coast, and then went to Fullerton to graduate, and then to Chapman. And Markel, when she graduated, she went to University of San Diego, and she got a master's there. And then Kim, she graduated, and then she went to Baylor.
And I just want to say, you may think that all school districts support all the kids equally. They do not.
No, they don't.
They do not. If it wasn't from us knowing Alton being in education and us knowing other educators, they would have been left in the dust. I mean, I remember the time that I wanted to go and see the counselor with Kimberly, and the guy was so mean and rude to me. He says, well, you're supposed to, sign up. I said, we have signed up multiple times. I said, you're not calling her name. Well, she's just going to have to wait, so on and so forth. And I said, wow. And so that's when we went out to dinner with one of Alton's best friends. And he says, where does she want to go to school at? Da-da-da-da-da.
That was Markel.
Yeah. Where did she want to go to school? Because
that's John.
John Acuna. You want to go to
Yeah, he got her into...
well, he gave her the channel to get in.
Yeah.
And let me finish my story, please. And in the classroom, you can do it, but in the classroom, when they were going around the school asking, where are you going to go to college at? Where are you going to go to college at? And so they got to Markel, knowing that she's going to say she's not going to go. She said, well, I'm going to go to UC Santa Barbara. Teacher laughed and says, how are you going to get into UC Santa Barbara? Now, mind you, she was nearly a straight A student. How are you going to get UC Santa Barbara? And she says, well, I'm already been accepted. And one of the other classmates stood up and says, "How did you get in?" And whatever. She said, "Well, I have my acceptance letter." And she had to bring it to school to show them that she had an acceptance letter, and stuff like that. So it's like, really, really, folks, you're not that equal opportunity here.
Yeah.
So that was eye opening for me.
Yeah.
Just because of things, and so that's how she got into that. So.
Yes, Uncle John, but that was
Well, she had the qualifications. It's like
Exactly.
she had, it's not like she was a
the
C
critical
student.
thing was all the enrollments had been closed, and John found the program that she could get into. Okay, because when she went up there and they have a Halloween festival thing. One of the group band girls invited her up there. Then she came back, and this was in October. And she says, October of her senior year, she'd already been accepted at San Diego State and Cal State Fullerton. And she came back and she says, "I want to go to UC Santa Barbara." You catch what I'm saying? But all the enrollments had been closed. And so what John did, he found a way to get her in there, and then that was it.
But there were, like you said, a lot of barriers and hurdles.
All sorts of. I mean, like I said, the story that they tell that people don't believe is real.
You think it still goes on?
Yes, every day. Okay, the thing. Okay, you think about modern day. Okay, I'll give you an example. My godson, and he went to modern day. You remember I told you about Stanley, and he played ball there, and all that kind of stuff. And all those guys, think about all those guys that went through modern day. What did you hear about them after they went to modern day?
Not very often.
Okay, you got what I'm saying? Okay, but
So was that saying that modern day wasn't doing?
they taking. Remember when you had the basketball teams and all those guys that they the big guys and all those guys and Rich and all those.
Well, yeah.
But they didn't offer that structure. I don't know what they're doing now.
Yeah.
Okay, but there are not that many in the Santa Ana. Not that many black kids going down in South County, the mixed kids. Okay,
So you said you Markel, but then you also had to fight for Kimberly too. The same thing, right? As far as getting through to the counselor and getting resources and help.
We just bypassed it
Because you knew now you had learned.
I don't know if I knew. Yeah. They offered this program, the links.
That's the links. Yeah,
they offered the program.
Is that the one you were?
Yeah,
right.
They offered the program and so on and so forth. And I says, why not? It's I don't know how many weeks it was, but it was how to walk, how to talk, how to do this. And part of the structure was how to apply for a college education. How to apply for college, and the kids had to dress up and the final night and stuff like that. So it was their contribution back to society. The links. It wasn't exclusive for blacks, but blacks did join it.
Yeah.
The majority were blacks, and
Right.
it's a good program.
It was like in the Bay Area, they would have the cotillion and stuff like that.
Yeah, I count.
Okay, and that kind of thing. And in the Bay Area, it was Texas Southern, Tuskegee, Grambling. Those kids were, instead of going to Cal State and stuff like that at that time, we all were going to something. The HBCUs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The girl I was dating, she was in San Mateo, and she went to Texas Southern. And I went to Tuskegee, and then some kids went to Grambling, or whatever place down there at the time.
Yeah, and but it's just what the bottom line of the whole conversation is that back in those particular days, and they happen now, they just weren't gonna do anything extra for the black kids.
Right. Yeah.
If it wasn't from Friendship Baptist Church, it was just historic. It's a black church, and just getting information as to what is possible.
Pretty much you were locked out of that because you were black.
Yeah, I mean that's just the way you have to say it.
Yeah. No, that's why I'm saying it.
That's the way I'm seeing because they said, she was, like I said, all the kids, they weren't A students, but they were 3.2s, 3.4s. They weren't,
Right.
If it wasn't for math, they would have been A students.
Yeah.
We're good at math, except for Kimberly. She A statistics.
I
don't know how that happened.
Oh yeah, I can't figure it out. But she was tutoring students in statistics.
I mean, she couldn't add and subtract to save her life, multiply and divide. She couldn't do that. Statistics.
It's just natural.
Yeah. It's like
an aptitude for that.
Yeah. But like Brenda said, we've been blessed that those barriers didn't stop them from going forward.
Well, again, we've been talking about relationships. The relationship you both had with your girls, you're there to help them, to fight for them, to advocate for them as a team. Even if you weren't together, you were still together in that regard. And the other thing that came to my mind is, again, we've talked about relationships and stuff, and you mentioned earlier about Kimberly going to Grambling, and then her friend is still her best friend, or one of her good friends now from that experience.
She's a godparent.
How many years has that been since she graduated from Grambling?
2010.
So about 15 years or so.
Yeah.
It's still a friend, and that's
they're still.
She's
to the point where
she's the godparents to their children.
They moved, and the best friend Brenda, her father just passed.
Yeah.
And Kimberly,
and she was an athlete too.
Yeah, she went there.
So they met on the track and field.
Yeah.
So again, sports brought them together, and then it's lasting. It transcends just the athletic competition part, because now they're like godparents.
But you just know when you're on a team, you just know people so well.
Yeah.
I mean, you know the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Exactly.
They're decent people. They're not decent people. So it's so somebody that you see every single day. You eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner with them. Yeah, you get to know all of it.
Yeah.
Well, a multitude of our podcasts, we talk about your sports and your experience with sports and the different sports you played. Multiple sports, played at a high level. It has to be a part of who you are, and like you said, the team part, and working with other players and working as a team, and so that's all part of relationships. I think.
Yeah,
definitely, and that's why I think it was important that we hear about your experiences recently, but also just that history you have of competing and how you got to where you got, and how you still every Saturday you get together with your teammates, and you like you said, sometimes we talk, but I mean you're still training, but that's still, it's beyond just the track and field or the field. It's about relationships and important people in your life.
It's just like people with like minds.
Like minds.
Like minds people. I have my church people, they're my church people.
Right.
I have my track and field people, they're my, and then I have family.
Yeah, you have a good combination of relationship, groups of relationships.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have this long history of friends and family.
I think one of the things that I started with when I was over at Harvard Learning Center, and what I tried to do was have the first Sunday of every month go out to dinner, and we started out with I wanted to see what kind of teachers, what kind of people they were, and the only ones that Bob and I don't know if you remember Bob, she was a special ed teacher, and her husband George. We everybody else disintegrated, and we I think for up until about a year and a half, up until about a year ago, we kind of stopped. But we would go, we went all over Orange County eating on Sundays. We would pick a place and we'd go. But my relationships are people that I've accumulated along the way as friends, like John. He passed away. As a matter of fact, I talked to his wife yesterday. They're going to do a commemorative coin for him. Yeah, but in my in my situation, I had to be very careful about the people that let into my life.
Well, right.
You know, because not everybody was your friend.
Yeah.
And not everybody, especially when we worked at.
Yeah.
You know, but
Well, that's why I think having you come again, which was nice to hear that you were going to be here, and we were going to be talking about relationships anyway. Having you as part of this has been really, really valuable. I think these were really 3 good podcasts that we did, and good conversation, and a lot.
Why was I coming over here?
huh?
Why did I come over here?
We talked about relationships.
Oh.
Well, you knew we were having a podcast, right? And so or did you know you were just going to visit? Was this just like
I was
No.
bringing you something.
No. She knew we were having a podcast.
Well, I know you have a podcast.
Yeah, and she knew she was supposed to be here at 11:30.
Yeah, no.
And you were here at 11:30,
Yeah.
so you were
No, but I think you just said that this morning, right?
No.
Anyway.
It was.
Well,
I called you 3-4 days ago. But anyway.
Oh yeah,
But
he may have,
You remember the day you brought me the medicine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was last Thursday.
Well, my memory is
Well,
I'm not half as sharp as Al.
No, you are sharp. You're sharp.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
That part I do know.
You'd have to be pretty sharp to be as sharp as him. So,
No, I'm
so
not
it's
sharp.
I would I can give you
No,
that.
But no, I'm glad that you came by.
Yeah, it was great. It really was great. It was great to be back at it. Well, again, I want to thank Elijah for coming up, and without his technical skills, we wouldn't even be able to do
That's
this.
right. We wouldn't be able to do this thing.
But it was great. Again, the conversation was good. Learned a lot, and I'm still learning. But anyway,
Hey, that's only half of it.
it's only half. Well, we got more half to go. So
Yeah.
until next time, appreciate everybody.
Okay.
Peace out, and
Peace out.
Good luck.
And thank you, Brenda.
This is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
We love it.
Yeah.
I have
A
my
dual
reading glasses and my
plastic.
sunglasses.
There we go. A little advertisement.
Uh,
Thank you. Those of you that are out there listening, subscribe to our page so that you can get the notifications of when we're going to record again.